Yes, YouTube, I'm back! And welcome back to today's video. So, I've been away for a while, so I just need to take a little bit of time out. I think just everything that's going on at the moment, I'm probably taking on a little bit too much. I increased the video schedule, which was great for the time being, but I probably committed too much time to sticking to deadlines and making videos where I should have committed that time to making some of these projects. So I just want to take a step back from YouTube for the time being, because to fund this hobby and this room and this channel, I've got my own little businesses that I run, and they need to keep going in order for this to continue. So as well as working full time, it's just become a little bit too much. So I've been rethinking how I'm going to do things, and going forward I'm probably going to just go back to one video a week for the time being and gradually look to increase that, just so we can commit some time, proper time, and some quality videos on the setups and some aquascapes you guys have been expecting. So I'm hoping that's something you guys are glad to hear. But because we've been away for so long, I thought it was a great opportunity for us to just go around and check out some of the setups. I got some plans for the next couple of videos for some of them, and we'll go through all of that. So why don't we just crack on with the rest of the video? Okay, so the first enclosure we'll look at is my Cuban nightingale, female Cuban nightingale, which I believe is female anyway, and there she is there lurking. Hey, Castro. So the last time we'd seen this tank, we would have been adding some plants in there. We removed some of the dead. I did talk about some of the plans for the future for this as well, which I'll go through in a little minute. But the plants are growing quite nicely, especially now since we added the jungle dawn in there. As you can see, some of the plants are red now, especially the bromeliads, and they're growing immensely since I've added that light in. We're also getting a lot of pups from some of the other broms, the fireballs there. So really happy with the way this is going. The only problem is down the bottom. We'll discuss that in a bit. But Castro herself's doing really well. She's still a little bit shy, but she's getting a little bit braver. Can you zoom in on her? How are you doing, Castro? But she's going through a little bit of a transition period at the moment. She's starting to go off fruit. So I added some blueberries in there for her yesterday, which she hasn't eaten. And I also added some fruit beetle grubs in there, which again, she hasn't eaten. So let's remove those actually now. Sorry, Castro. Oh, there's a cricket in there. Let's get rid of that. Get out, cricket. There you go. So she hasn't eaten any of her blueberries. So she seems to be going off fruit at the moment. And we'll just take the fruit beetle grubs out. And we'll give her some fresh food later. So this year, one of the main focuses for me is not only adding more animals and enclosures into this room, but also just to make sure that we can manage the animals we've got. And I just want to make sure these setups are best suited to the animals as possible. And I'm going to try and just focus on improving these as well as adding new setups. So going forward, this one, I mentioned it in a couple of videos ago that I want to remove and replace the substrate in the bottom of this tank, just because when this was done, I was pretty new to bioactive setups. I've learned a lot since, and I think it's pretty much just eco earth in the bottom, which is probably not best for the plants, and hopefully we'll get a better success now we've added the jungle dawn as well if we do that. So I'll be coming up in a future video. The other things I want to do, I want to add a rain system, so we've got the monsoon solo to add on there at some point as well. Now, as I mentioned before, I usually go for Mist King systems, but I do really like the monsoon, even though I have bad luck with them in the past. But apparently the issue is rectified, so we'll give it a go. Now, something I've been considering for this tank as well as some of the other setups, to be fair, is ventilation and aeration. So I want to make sure that what I want to look into a little bit more is getting fresh air in and out of these enclosures, because sometimes, especially in humid situations like this, it can become stagnant. The last thing you want is stagnant air, and that does tend to lead to respiratory infections. So that's something I want to look into, which is a bigger scale project, and something I want to just try and replicate what they'd get in the wild in that sense. But we've obviously added more vents into this tank. Now, I did used to have fans on this enclosure when it was the Panther Chameleon's tank, Now, I don't think they were the most effective when I set them up, so I want to try and find a better way of doing this. We'll probably employ that then onto the chameleon tank as well. Okay, so for those of you who've been following the channel a while, you know this is one of my favourite enclosures. Now this is homes my 4 or 5 belly toads. I've got 2 males, 2 females, and we've also got some white cloud mountain minnows. And we also have some blue dream shrimp, but they're not out at the moment, so you can't see those right now. But this tank's doing really well. The creeping figs needs trimming back a little bit more, but as you can see, it's bushing out at the top there and starting to creep along to the other side, which is what we were looking for. Now, all the plants we added last time are doing well. This does need a water change and the glass does need cleaning down. But the mondo grass is doing well, settled in nicely. So have all the aquatic plants, to be fair. I wasn't quite sure whether the wavy green bucephalandras would work, but never used them in this before, but they seem to be doing well. And there's our moss rocks there. And again, if you want to see how to make those, I'll put links in the description as well. I'll probably put a card up for you. But there's been a lot of talk about moss balls lately. And I don't know if you guys have seen anything about that, but if you're interested, I can make a video on that. But here's one of the frogs. How you doing, mate? But generally doing well. Like I said, there's some plans for this in the future. One of the only things that didn't really work out, which, as you can see, that big brown patch there used to be some baby tears, but they didn't work out, so I'm probably going to try that again. I think when I add them in, they're on their way out anyway. If not, we'll try and find an alternative plant that we can use. Now, in one of the last videos you would have seen that we added an RGB light in the top, hoping to bring the baby tears back, but no chance. So I think they're already on their way out, like I said. Now, there's not a great deal I want to do on this tank other than continue to look at the lighting. This doesn't really need any aeration or fans or anything because they are a high humidity species, and also there's a mesh lid on this tank as well, and there's also vents in the side on the doors there as well. But the main thing I want to try and do on this year will be to get a canister filter on this, because we've got an internal filter, and if you've seen one of the videos we did on maintenance on this tank, it is a pain to get the filter out and do some maintenance on it. And I'll leave a card up here or here in the description as well if you want to go and check that video out. But I think that'll help us then maintain the aquatic stock in here, so the fish and the shrimp, and I am probably going to get some more shrimp because they have done well in here, and I don't see them that often. Although the first time I seen them after I had them in, I originally added them. I hadn't seen them for maybe a week, so I thought, perhaps haven't worked out. And then a cricket fell into the water, and they were there for like 2-3 days just eating that cricket. I was going to remove it, but I thought it was quite interesting. I'll put some clips up so you can see now. Okay, so on to Bert's enclosure. So for those who don't know, this is the newest enclosure we've set up. Now, Bert's my male, just over 5 years old panther chameleon. Now, he is getting into the winter stage of his life, and this will be his permanent home now. Now, we probably made this maybe the start of last year. Now, we've continued developing it as we've gone on in terms of electric. So we've added new lights in, it's got a jungle dawn on there as well as the UVB. Also added the deep heat emitter as well to replace the ceramic heat bulbs, because I find those are a lot better. If you want to know a little bit more about those, and I'll leave a card or a link in the description as well, so you can check that video out. Now, we've constantly been adding plants and working things out when it comes to that. Now, I think most of the plants are worked out. There are a couple that are still not right, and we start to find suitable replacements for them, but we'll continue to do that. Now, we also worked on the watering system, so we added a dripper on there as well as the fogger. So the fogger, for some reason, I noticed that yesterday when I checked it wasn't actually working. It was coming on, but it wasn't actually getting any mist out, so I need to check that out and work out what's going on there. We also need to add the rain mist king system onto this enclosure. I don't know why I can't talk today. Just because I'm manually spraying at the moment because I'm working from home, but obviously that might not always be the case, so it was better to have it on a timer. here's the main man himself. Let's have a better look at him. Just chilling. He's just coming out of shed. I think he was shedding yesterday, most of it off. He's just got some wrap around his legs there, which I'm sure he'll sort out soon, Bertie. But he's doing really well at the moment. He is sort of a lot more, I can tell he's older, I suppose. He's not as active as he used to be, but he still get about. He's still eating fine, doing what he needs to. But like I said, I've got some plants there that need to be planted at some point, and as always, I'll keep you involved in that. Don't think the peace lily worked out, so we'll replace that. Most of the plants are doing well. This Crouton fig started to die back, but it is starting to get back to his former glory. And the jungle dawn has really brought out some of the colours in the bromelia and some of the other plants. Most of them are doing well. I added a air plant in there the other day, which seems to be doing well. But overall, happy with this enclosure. The only thing that I did do, which is a bit stupid when I made this, is I put the plastic for the front on the outside, which probably should have gone on the inside. I just thought it'd look better on the outside. So I'm probably going to need to get a piece of plastic to put on the inside of that just to make sure it's completely watertight, but there is tarpaulin in the bottom and waterproof lining, so we should be fine. It's just it doesn't look great hanging down there like that. So we'll get that fixed at some point as well, but it's not massively important. It just doesn't look great. But the enclosure's doing well, plants are growing out, still tinkering with it, but it'll get there in time. So we probably haven't seen enough of the fish tanks recently. We did cover a spell that all it was aquascaping and fish content, and then it went back to reptiles, and it tends to swing like that on this channel because I tend to have an area of focus and I get some momentum going. So this tank probably didn't get very much attention recently. It had his water changes. I was falling behind on trimming it and maintenance and things like that. The fish were all fine, although we did lose a couple of the chili raspora more recently, but I noticed there was always 3 in there. They were quite discoloured, very skinny, and I've given food with garlic, trying to treat any internal parasites and usual medications and stuff, but they just didn't work out. So there's only 5 chili raspora in here at the moment, and a lot of the time they hide away as well. So as well as the black tiger darrows are in here, and again, I hadn't seen them for a month maybe, and when I trimmed this back, I'd seen them both and they're all doing well, but they obviously like the cover and they go hunting with snails and shrimp, and that's the way it goes. So the Bloody Mary shrimp are in here as well. Obviously I've seen a lot more of those since I trimmed this back. Now what happened was it was pretty much the Hatra had literally grown over and folded over the top of the tank pretty much. A lot of the Reiki Mini, it's grown right to the top and breached the water line. And the worst thing was this moss had literally carpeted out through the dwarf hair grass, all through the back, and it was literally a moss lump. It probably took me an hour just to get rid of the moss, and there's still plenty that have got other places and need looking at as well. So I'll get around to that and we'll keep on top of this, but I'm considering whether to rescape this tank at some point. Now I've got some new scapes and some new tanks I want to prioritize before that, but I don't know whether this scapes at his day and maybe we should try something different. But as always, let me know what you guys think in the description below. Okay, so like I said, I appreciate this tank doesn't look anything like the condition we had it in before, so it's a bit embarrassing, but hey, oh, these are the way things go sometimes. So like you see here, it's a bit bald there because all that moss grew and carpeted through it and inevitably killed a lot of the hair grass, but I was going to get some more, but now we've got CO2 running on here. I think this will just carpet back out in no time, so I thought that'd be quite interesting to see as well. A lot of the plants lost their coloration, like is the Reiki Mini there not looking the greatest. Hatra's looking a bit sad for itself, but you can see all the moss growing through there. Now it does look like a lot, but the amount I took out yesterday, it looked like hardly any in comparison. Now we do have a little bit of algae issues as well. Now when the tank ran out of CO2, I did struggle to get another CO2 canister for a while, so that didn't help either. Or I found, and there's even algae on the CO2 diffuser look. But what I found before, this piece of wood here was massively covered in algae. I tried to remove it manually, but in the end, what we did, if you remember, was just to add CO2 on here, not do anything else with the algae, and eventually the CO2 wiped the algae issues out. So I'm not going to panic too much about it, but I am keen to get this moss sorted. The only thing is these S. repens are looking so healthy and so good, but the Bacopa, not so much. I don't know if you can see that there. but not so much. But I'm loving the Asparagus, really compact growth, looking really, really nice. But hopefully this will start to colour out a little bit, and the plants start to get the colour soon. Now we've had another CO2 tank on there. And again, this is a CO2 system I got from CO2 Supermarket, and as always, I'll recommend you go and check them out. There's no commission for me or anything, but I just find them a lot better than some of the common brands, like the Tropica Nano system. And again, there's a video on that if you want to go and check that out, and I'll leave a card and a link in the description. So, this is the 20-gallon community tank, which you can't barely tell that it is a tank. Now, let me explain a few things here. So one, it looks pretty dark, mainly because I've been trying to grow out some floating plants, which you can see I've been very successful with. But, so we've got some salvinia in here. The majority you can see is duckweed, which is a pain. There's a lot of salvinia over here, look. And then we've got the limbodium as well, which have grown massively. Look how big some of those are now. So I'm considering putting some of these in the frog tank now they've grown out, as well as limbodium. I think I'm going to get rid of a lot of this duckweed because it just travels to other tanks, but always good to have on hand. Obviously, this has been filtering out the light into this aquarium. So it has helped with the moss slightly, but the moss is massively overgrown again, which needs to trim back. But this tank is pretty much on its way out now. Right. I've probably never explained this, I know some of you noticed it, but I was going to do a Christmas tree tank for Christmas time, didn't get it done in time, and since the floating plants have been in there, it's looking like it's going bald. It was starting to fit out really nice, but it's been struggling for light, obviously. But maybe we'll try something like that this Christmas. But I really want to rescape this tank. Now, once I escape the 30p and the little terrascape I've got on the windowsill, pretty much get the ball python enclosure up and running, then this will be something I'll look to rescape, because I've got a really cool idea of something we've never tried before. And I was going to replace the tank itself, but I think we'll do the new scape in this tank before we replace it. So, not looking the prettiest, I do agree, but all the fish are doing really well. So we've got the 4 golden white cloud minnows we added from the fire bellies in there, still doing well. Still got some of the ember tetras from the ember tetra. Ember Valley tank, we also got the cherry shrimp in there, and there's also some Galaxy Raspora. Can we see any? Oh, there's one darting around somewhere there. There you go. One there. Well, that was not looking great actually. It's got a bit of a sunken belly. But most of them are doing really well in there at the moment, and it's just not a great tank to film, so we won't spend too much time on it. But the new scape I've got in mind, I think you'll be excited about, so make sure you are subscribed. So finally, we've got my baby ball python, which I still haven't named yet. And there he is there. How you doing, buddy? Now, this is just a temporary setup. Now, it is sat on the old tank that needs to go back. Now, I have got the new one here. I just need to put it together. So this will be one of the next projects coming up now. I'm just waiting on the plastic sheets to come, which would be great. And then we can do a fully bioactive setup for him. I'm hoping to do that in one video and release it as one video, because I know you guys appreciate that. But he's doing really well. He's really food. Ooh, there you go. He thinks it's food time. Now, I just fed him yesterday, so I'm not going to get him out. But as you can see, he's really food orientated. He's really alert, and he always thinks it's food time, which is great, really, because every ball python I've had in the past, or all 3 ball pythons I've had, none of them ever would take mice or rats off the tongs. They'd just literally leave it on the floor, and then they would, are you going to strike? Or are you just going in your bed? No, he's just chilling. So he literally comes out of that hide like a rocket as soon as I open the tank and put the mouse in. He's on it straight away, which is great. And for those who've had ball python struggle to eat, is never a nice thing, especially when you're trying to grow them out as well. But he's doing really well. This enclosure isn't ideal. Ooh, needs a bit of spot cleaning there. I've added some fake plants in there. Obviously he's got his warm, his cool hide, and some, well, I think other places to hide and shelter, and just try and make him feel secure. He has tended to sleep mostly in his cool hide lately, so he seems happy enough there. Obviously changes water every day, scrub that down, and that's pretty much it. But I'm really looking forward to getting him into his new setup. give him some new places to explore. What are you doing now? No. And just get some proper lighting, heating on here would be absolutely amazing, because as you guys know, I don't really think that heat mats are the best way of heating any reptile. So having him in this setup isn't great. He's, you know, he's not suffering in any way, but I just think there's better care we can provide for him. It is good to be back. So, I know it's probably been a month since I put a video out, and I hope you've been caught up on everything that's going on. Now, the only thing I didn't mention actually was some of the odd systems in the racking, other than the ADA, are going to be stripped down. The reason I can't take them down at the moment is because that's the heaviest tank on the top of the shelf, so I don't want all the weight on the top. So they're sort of acting like a counterbalance for now, but I'm probably going to clean one of the tanks out and use it as a quarantine, because I am quite keen to get some more chili raspora or mosquito raspora in there, and I may also get some shrimp as well, so it's always good to have a small quarantine system. But I haven't really got that much done while I've been away, unfortunately. It was good just to take a complete break. The only thing I've really been focusing on, just more of a hobby, is my home aquarium, so the one in my living room. So me and my fiance, we've been setting that up recently, and we're gonna like to escape that together, and that's been really nice, getting her involved in the hobby and seeing her enjoy, you know, see what I enjoy and, you know, appreciate it the way that I do. So that's been really nice. Been doing a lot of design work and things, and if you guys are interested, I don't know, I'll check some pictures up here of things I've been up to. And I don't know, what are you guys interested in? Let me know below, and perhaps the things we include in future videos. But it's really nice to get back. It was really daunting coming back, the thought of doing a video, for not doing one for so long, just probably out of practice. It seems like a lot of work, but it's what I love and enjoy, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Now, I'm going to try not to make too many promises for future plans and things like that going forward, because I think I maybe got ahead of myself there in the past a little bit, and perhaps need to slow things down, but I get so excited about ideas, and you're the first people I want to share it with. So, I don't know. Maybe I just need to slow down a little bit, get some videos out that I want to create, some stuff that I know you guys are going to enjoy, and stuff that'll benefit the animals, and slowly try to build up pace as we go on. What I'd like to try and do is get a library of videos together, so I'm not always filming for the same week, which is quite stressful, especially when I was doing 4 videos a week, working full time, and my own other little jobs on the side. So I think that's the way we go forward. I'd love to know what you guys think of these sort of ideas and plans. You know, do you have any suggestions on the way we should go forward? Things you want to change? As always, I really, really do mean it when I say I always like to hear your criticism, good or bad, because essentially that's what's made the channel what it is so far. So as always, I just want to say a massive thank you to all your support, especially I put a post on my YouTube feed maybe last week, just letting you guys know what was going on. And, you know, the amount of support and kind words I get still blows me away, even though this is what you guys do. So a massive thanks from me. It really means a lot, and I'm glad you enjoy what I do. I know I definitely do, and it's great to bring you guys along for the journey as well. And that's going to be something for this year. Stop saying journey. I don't say a normal life. It's really, really lame. Why do I say journey? Who knows? But that's something I'm going to trying to stop doing this year. So if you hear me saying videos, comment in the section below, tell me to shut up. But I think that's enough of me waffling on for one day. It's great to be back, like I said. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and I look forward to chatting to you in the comment section. And I'll see you in the next video.